Good morning and welcome to the season finale of Light the Wick. It's May 1st, 2015, and I'm your host, Sydney Sims. Today we will treat our hair right, meet a local legend. We will check out some local Italian heritage. We explore a building that never sleeps, and then we will jet down to a local production company. This is Light the Wick. A new hair trend is spreading like wildfire across the world. In downtown Youngstown, we have one of the sparks to that flame. For many years, African American women have struggled with their hair in its natural state. But now with the natural movement, an answer has been found. I sat down with a fellow naturalista, Carmel Marie, who makes her own organic products to help tame natural hair. We learned how she got started.
I was at coffee shops all around town. I started reading and buying books, how to make natural hair care products, how to make products in general. And I researched and I then started buying stuff and I just made my first formula. And that's how I got started. And we started doing these hair talks across town. And my first one, 8 people were supposed to show up, 16 showed up.
Oh, wow.
And then 20, and then 30, and then 40. And then we just consistently grew with a rate of 90% new women every time. So I was like, okay, I'm onto something here. So we just started doing more and more, diving into empowering women on how to make products. Then they told me they didn't want to make any. They would just buy it from me. So I was like, okay, cool.
If you would like to learn more about Carmela's products, check out the information listed below. On Monday, the YSU Communication Department hosted its second Pros and Pizza event. This time around, they were host to local legend, former championship boxer Ray Boom Boom Mancini. At the event, Mancini talks to students and faculty about his transition from a championship boxer to a film actor and producer. He also talked about his interest in bringing more film production to the area. After the event, Mancini stayed and answered additional questions, signed autographs, and even gave his insight on the upcoming Mayweather-Pacquiao boxing match. I wonder who he's going to choose. This week in Moments in Mahoning, we check out the history of the Naples family right here in Youngstown.
Giuseppe and Lucia Di Napoli immigrated to Briar Hill in 1905 from Colabro, Italy. They would settle into a tiny house on the corner of Calvin and Poplar Avenues. In 1908, a son, Santino Joseph, was born, the oldest of what would be a family of 7 brothers and sisters. Known as Sandy, he would get started early into the mob. By 1934, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison, and in 1944, he was released and returned to Youngstown, where over the next 16 years, he would become the biggest policymaker in Youngstown. His home on Carlotta would be bombed during construction, causing $50,000 damage. He ran his operation from the Center Sandwich Shop in Camel. His top lieutenants were his brothers, Billy and Joey. Sandy, during his heyday, was the most notorious racketeer in the Youngstown area. He would get caught leaving jail on weekends to visit his girlfriend in 1957.
We're standing out here in front of 623 Caledonia Street, where 55 years ago, March of 1960, Sandy Naples was killed on the front porch with his girlfriend, Marianne Vrancich. 2 gunmen would come around the house and shoot Marianne as she opened the door to let Sandy in, and Sandy would duck down behind the banister and he would unload his .38 revolver, but to no avail. Sandy would be mortally wounded and would die later on that evening at St. Elizabeth Hospital.
The war for Youngstown between Cleveland and Pittsburgh factions was just beginning. Only 2 years later, in July 1962, Sandy's brother Billy would be killed in a car bomb at a West Madison Avenue garage. With over 70 unsolved bombings in the 50s and early 60s, including 13 deaths, Youngstown was the bombing capital of the U.S. They were humorously called Youngstown tune-ups. Joey Naples, the youngest of the Naples children, would take over the business for the family with the silent yet watchful eye of his older brother James. Joey would continue to run the family business from the sandwich shop, which included Youngstown United Music Vending Company. Little Joey, as he was known, would operate in the Youngstown area from 1962 to 1991. Everything from bribing officials and paying off judges to running numbers and even narcotics. August 19, 1991 would prove fatal for Joey. He took a trip to a home he was having built on Lynn Road in Beaver Township when a sniper in a cornfield across the street would shoot him multiple times, killing him. A violent end to a violent life. Shortly thereafter, his older brother James would die of natural causes at 80 years old. A lifetime of pain and grief at watching his brothers get killed, James Naples Sr. surely died of a broken heart. This has been Moments in Mahoning.
Night and day, there's always stirring in Bliss Hall on YSU's campus. Whether it be acting or music practice, the building never sleeps. We talked to the Dean of Creative Arts and Communication College to talk a little more about this downtown phenomenon.
Most of the time, there's activity. People are up singing, performing, acting, sculpting, whatever it might be. There's all different kinds of things, and interviewing. So there's plenty of activity going on here, and it seems to be going from morning to night. Artists work based on their motivation at the time, you know, and sometimes as an artist, you're motivated at 1 o'clock in the morning, so away you go.
This week, Jim Naples got a chance to speak to former YSU student Bill Russo about his local production company and more. Take a look.
This is Jim Naples here with YSU's Light the Wick. Today we're interviewing Bill Russo here at the Ohio 1 building. So Bill, give us a little information. I know when you started out at the Wick building, and now you've moved here. Give us a little information on your backstory.
Sure. Jet Creative Productions is a partnership between myself, my wife Emily, and 2 other partners, Sarah and Larry Mon. And basically, you know, we looked at the status of marketing in the Youngstown area, and we really wanted to start closing the gap between what these national companies are doing and what local companies are doing, and kind of trying to position Youngstown businesses on the same stage as the national businesses. So we formed the company together about a year ago, and we've been working locally, steadily building up a client base. We're located, you know, right here downtown in the Ohio 1 building, which is great. We're right in the heart of all of the big innovation that's happening in Youngstown, so that's really the great thing.
Fantastic. Now, I see you're working here on a project now. Do you do mostly like advertising for local companies, or?
Yeah, that's basically what it is. Television commercials, website design, graphic design. If people have events coming up, we'll shoot and edit a video for them, promoting, you know, if they're trying to raise money, or if they're just trying to get the word out about their product. You know, we do all those sorts of things.
Fantastic. Now, do you do any social media campaigns, anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, anything online. That's a really big focus of what we try to do with marketing, is really, you know, take it sort of away from television commercials sometimes and sort of move into that realm of online advertising, where everything is really, you know, focused and pointed towards your target audience, as opposed to, you know, just sort of blasting out a message and not being sure of who's hearing it. When you get into social media, Google advertising, you can actually really just go in right on your target demographic and tailor your ads specifically to the people that you want to sell to. So that's a huge part of what we do.
For YSU's Light the Wick, this is Jim Naples. Have a great evening.
For more information, visit the website listed below. Well, that's a wrap for this season of Light the Wick. If there's anything you would like for us to cover next season, or if you would like just to leave us some feedback, let us know on our Facebook, Twitter, or our email. We close the season with a quick rewind on some of the season's highlights. Join us next time right here on Light the Wick. Welcome to a new season of Light the Wick.
Let's get started.
What's important for your viewers is the idea that we're going to do it again.
I didn't want to just tell my story. I wanted to tell everybody's story.
Heard that right here.
We take a look at Youngstown's $1 million playground, Idora Park.
That business is Cinematics.
Love is you. And get a little wild.
See you next week.
I'm Ben Urban.
I'm James Naples.
I'm Cody Talley.
I'm Jen Neighbors.
I'm Katherine Thompson.
I am Denzel Stevens.
I'm James Weedman, and this is Light the Wick.
Light the Wick.
Light the Wick. Light the Wick.
Light the Wick.